Hi, my name's Del Singh, and the reason I'm actually making this video is I am a man who's actually had bariatric surgery, and there's lots of stuff out there about whether it's good, bad or indifferent. This is my personal story, my own words, and I'm hoping the reason I'm doing this is because if there's anybody else out there considering having some kind of surgery because their weight is, well, obese, large, and possibly endangering their life as mine was, then hopefully this might help. I know when I was looking into the subject, I found very little, particularly from guys that had the surgery, that I could actually, that would resonate with me in terms of message. So I'm hoping if this helps one person, then maybe it's a job well done on my part. So effectively, when I was 52 years old back in 2014. My weight was around 154 kilograms, it's about 24 stone or 340 pounds to cover all the bases. It was big, and worse still was it wasn't just about vanity, it was a case of I had a BMI of around 53.3, which is morbidly obese. So the idea of stroke, diabetes, they were all just literally around the corner. I had a friend about the same age as myself who died not of obesity but of another illness, and I suppose when you look into the coffin of someone of your own age or peer group or somebody you grew up with, it does actually sort of strike home. And that was one of the inspirations, along with generally wanting to be around for my family. I've tried lots of diets, so before anybody says, hang on a second, eat less, portion control, skinny people do a lot of that, you know. I had been through all of that, so I've done Weight Watchers. Unlike Oprah, it didn't work for me, but then I don't own 10% of the company. I tried Life, I tried a lot of other diets and so on. They all worked. I can't lie, I lost 2, 3, 4 stone on them, but I was really miserable. And as soon as the diets were stopped or I slowed down on it, the weight came back on. And I was kind of really unhappy whilst I was on those diets. I was just in starve mode, which wasn't great. So knowing that I had to lose probably about sort of 10 stone, something like about 60 kilograms, 140 odd pounds, I looked for a solution, and for me it looked like surgery would be the only option. So I actually looked at a number of options, including gastric band, gastric balloons, and I opted for a thing called a gastric sleeve or a gastrectomy. And this is a procedure where effectively they will remove 3/4 of your stomach. So, you know, your stomach is yay big, and effectively they will cut it out and make it smaller. It is a one-off job. You can't go back, so it's a total life changer. And it was important for me to understand that. And so, you know, anybody looking at this, please take the advice. Think about this. Yeah, gastric bands are reversible, so that's maybe an easier option, and you can have them removed. But I wanted something that I would work towards, and also that, you know, there's no band slippage. I wouldn't have to review the situation every 2 or 3 years. And I'd read good stuff about it, and also I knew this was going to be a permanent life change. I didn't want to go back to my old ways. And with a stomach this big, effectively, you know, gone are the days of endless bargain buckets or eating or drinking without worry and stuff, because you can literally only eat a small amount and you're full. And the nice thing about being full is you're actually happy, and that's what I found. So anyway, that's what I opted for. So I went through that surgery. I chose wisely, and there are lots of options out there. I paid for the surgery myself. I did it in the UK, which is where I live, with a reputable surgeon. There were lots of cheaper options overseas. I didn't go that route because this is a life thing. It's not something about, it's not something that I wanted to try horse trade with. And effectively, the surgery sort of lasted about an hour or so. I must admit I had some slight complications. It took a little longer, but I was looked after brilliantly. And the net effect is that it's made a massive change to my life. So, I mean, the changes are apparent. You maybe can't see them now, but if I was to tell you the stats, effectively 1 year on, I went from 154 kilograms to 92 kilograms. So I'd lost 10 stone. So effectively almost, you know, went down to 202 pounds from 340 pounds. So it's a big weight loss, you know, and more importantly, my BMI, where it was 53 and morbidly obese, deep in the red, is moved across to, you know, obese stroke overweight. So it's about 32.1. So that's what it was 1 year on. And the amazing thing is I feel brilliant for having done this. I don't feel constantly in starve mode. I don't feel hungry. I can eat the foods that I want, but in very small quantities. The other thing is the food does tend to kind of like take a time to go down because it's a small stomach. And to help it go down, I found it was easier to get up and walk around rather than sit there and park myself in front of the telly. So what started off as just a quick walk around the house, extended to a quick walk around the block, has then resulted in me actually walking around a much bigger area. And generally, I've now walk about 10 kilometres a day. So it's about 5 miles or 6 miles a day, probably even a bit more than that. And that's simply because I like it. It's actually, I don't do gyms. I never did that from day one. So the first 6 months, the weight loss it happened because simply I was eating so little. But after 6 months was over, I found I was doing more and more exercise activities, walking particularly. Also bought a bike after 35 years, so I actually go biking at the weekends, and it's brilliant. And so, you know, if I fast forward to today, which is the end of January 2016, it's about sort of 16 months on from my surgery. I currently weigh about 88 kilograms. So that's 195 pounds. So that's 13 stone, 13 pounds. I'd say my BMI is now 30.5. I'm literally going from what was obese into overweight. But the most important thing of all of this is I feel brilliant. You know, having lost such a large amount, 10 stone of weight, you know, I've just got this extra energy that I never had before. And I think that's one of the things that nobody told me about was all of a sudden it's like somebody's replaced a couple of batteries and you're going to be kind of like Mr. Active. My kids call me Dad 2.0. I do actually have grandkids as well, and so there's little things like when I took my granddaughter to the nursery, the sort of one of the play attendants sort of said, "Say goodbye to Daddy," and I said, "Actually, I'm not her daddy, I'm actually her granddaddy," and she was, "Wow, you actually don't look like a granddad." Now, that's a brilliant compliment. I didn't do this to get compliments, but it's one of those things that's happened because people say, you look younger, you look fitter, you look healthier. So there's lots of plus points to all of this. And for anybody that's considering this kind of surgery, I would say do think about it. It's very important. It is life-changing. You have got to put the effort in. It's not just a quick fix that, oh yeah, I had a bit of surgery and the weight will just come off. It will come off. You will eat less. You will feel better. You will go through a period of feeling pretty rough. And I'm going to talk about that later on. You'll need help and support, but it's well worth it. Just before I go, I thought I would, you know, because you may not be able to see all of this, but if I was to stand up slightly, you know, sorry, you may get a bit of a better view of me now. So okay, this is me as I am today. So I'll squat a bit. Just so just in case anybody out there doesn't believe me, these were my pants from way back when. So if you look, that's effectively where I am now. So that's I was a waist of 52. I'm now a waist of 36. So it just shows you big pants, big people. It's worth considering the options and having a go at changing your life. Hopefully this has helped.